Lagos Network Center, your reach out station.
Shoes no less, it's brand new tea, but I kept on coming strong. But that's when I looked to the mirror and I told myself this was hard.
Good afternoon, you are on to NTA Nationwide. My name is Femi Johnson and thanks for joining us. President Goodluck Jonathan has congratulated the Emir of Kano, Ado Bayero, at 83. Meanwhile, the president has also told ministers not to bring to the council any variation of contract that is above 15% of original sum. Information Minister Labaran Maku made this known at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting. In another development, President Jonathan has accepted the voluntary disengagement of Minister of State for Health, Ali Pate, who is proceeding to the United States to join Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Deal Global Health Institute. The president has also given 5 million naira each to 6 members of the Nigeria's 4x400 meters relay team to Sydney Olympics 2000, just decorated with their gold medals, while 2 of their handlers also got 7 million naira. Details of these stories in our subsequent bulletin. Meanwhile, President Goodluck Jonathan has approved 10 billion naira cassava bread fund for the Ministry of Agriculture. The Minister of Agriculture, Adeomi Adesina, disclosed this while addressing directors of value chain leaders to give account, who are giving account of their stewardship in the last 1 year. Kirian Umayo reports.
Cassava bread as part of efforts to add value to cassava crop has been described as a giant leap in the process of transforming the agricultural sector. Minister of Agriculture Dr. Akinwumi Adesina says the approval of Cassava Bread Fund by President Goodluck Jonathan will encourage the agricultural stakeholders to work hard to feed the nation.
I would like the service departments to keep the bigger picture in view, because that's the main thing. You see? So, and then simplify the processes, reduce the areas where you think things can be cut down to make it work for the overall achievement that we need to basically have.
Dr. Adesina told his staff that the dream of being self-sufficient in food production is a task the ministry must accomplish. He conveyed President Jonathan's appreciation of the entire agric workforce and commended them for exceeding their target. In Abuja, Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
The non-provision of sufficient potable water to the Nigerian population is largely due to lack of political will to address the problem. This came to the fore at the second training workshop on water agencies' performance assessment and benchmarking put together by the Ministry of Water Resources in Abuja. Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports.
Nigeria is arguably a country that has water in real terms, but with poor record of access to safe water and good sanitary condition for the populace. This is in addition to the United Nations report on Africa, which had the overall economic loss to lack of water estimated at about $48 billion in a year, with Nigeria taking the lion's share. This training workshop tend to see how solutions can be preferred, which is why handlers of the water agency in the states converge on Abuja.
The more we delay in addressing our water challenges, the more the loss will continue to suffer.
Each water agency should have a proper planning.
The Ministry of Water Resources will start to provide this life-supporting service to people, and that they will be able to be healthy.
Having adequate security for our plants and equipment, the state, for people to pay particular attention to facilities that are being provided for the people.
In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
The South-South Elders and Stakeholders Forum has distanced President Goodluck Jonathan And the First Lady from the political crisis in Rivers State, saying the crisis is as a result of failure of the leadership in that state. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the forum advised Governor Rotimi Amechi to resign honorably from the PDP instead of what they called waging a war of acrimony against its leadership. Abdullahi Garba Brennan Kodo reports.
In a statement tagged "A Gang Up to Destabilize the Country," Vice Chairman of South People's Assembly, former military administrator of Akwa Ibom State, Air Commodore Indojesit Nkanga, said there are a lot of misconceptions about the Rivers State crisis. He expressed regret on how an internal political problem of South and not peculiar to the Rivers State is being taken outside political discourse.
We would like to state that nobody in Nigeria has greater stake in the present political squabbles in Rivers State than the people of the South. Beyond those on Governor Amechi's payroll, how many prominent Rivers chiefs and elders have Nigerians heard singing discordant tunes with those fighting against him?
Adding his voice on the issue on whether they have reached out to the parties on the crisis, the leader of the South People's Assembly, Chief Edwin Clark, said Governor Rotimi Amechi shown their intervention on several occasions.
What is Amechi looking for? There must be something on that. He has his own personal agenda. We must face fact in this country. This country belongs to all of us, and nobody should feel that we have to beg them. We have to lay on the ground to allow Jonathan to continue to rule.
As the political crisis in Rivers State continues to generate interest, the word of caution is for the parties to seize their sword and choose a path of peace for democracy to thrive in Nigeria. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Brunokudu, NTA News.
Lecture on public procurement holds in Lagos as we now join Jennifer for these and other stories. Hello, Jennifer. It's over to you.
Thank you, Femi. Hello, welcome to Lagos, and thank you for joining us. The amendment of the Public Procurement Act of 2007 has been advocated. This is to entrench the principles of transparency and accountability in public administration and the use of public procurement to promote social inclusion and cohesion. This suggestion was made by Professor Patrick Osode of the Fort Hare University of South Africa when he delivered the 4th Diaspora Lecture of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. Vera Chimuba has more.
Professor Patrick Osode spoke on entrenching the primacy of fairness and the rule of law in public procurement, reflections and lessons from Southern Africa. He said while amending the constitution, Nigeria should emulate jurisdictions like Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa in prescribing the applicability of public procurement-related laws and norms to the 3 tiers of government. This is so because state and local governments have direct interface with the citizens. He emphasized that improving the quality of good governance in public procurement means increasing the pace of development and restoring public trust and the ability of states to utilize public funds for public good.
I have suggested part of what you have in South Africa, the principle of mandatory rotation, where in the award of these contracts, in the award of these opportunities, there's a deliberate attempt to ensure that the opportunities are constantly revolving. And that way, you're not only building a sense of ownership, you're also jacking up levels of public confidence.
The highly inspiring lecture attracted reactions.
Attitude which South Africans adopt. You throw this in open to rank and file. And in such a way that it will be difficult, you see, for anybody to shy away from what is the consensus of the people.
It is working in other jurisdictions, and it is capable of working in Nigeria. And we'll have to take that as a challenge.
You can only move forward when you are unhappy about breaking the rule. Then the thing will go better.
Public procurement should therefore be considered as part of the Constitution in constitutional amendment, just like in jurisdictions like Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa. In Lagos, Viara Chumaba, NTA News.
The need for entrepreneurs to create The new and sustainable business model and the youth to embrace such initiatives as the country's economic changes have been stressed in Lagos. Governor Babatunde Fashola at the First State Enterprise Day Interactive Forum charged the youth to redirect their vigors to meet the need of the society. Jesuto Moses reports.
The Lagos Enterprise Day initiative, according to the governor, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, is an interactive forum for all stakeholders in the promotion of enterprises education in the state's technical and vocational education system. It is aimed at fostering enterprise education among technical college students, encouraging them to embrace entrepreneurial activities and develop the right attitude towards entrepreneurship and self-employment.
There is unemployment. I don't say that there isn't. There is underemployment. But there is also employment in areas where we have not acknowledged that it exists. So in your businesses, you must continue to find new ways to do the same thing.
The initiative, according to the Lagos State government, will not only make the youth self-reliant, but also develop the local capacity to meet the skilled manpower demand of the country. In Lagos, Jesuto Moses, NTA News.
The need for security agencies to collaborate and synergize for efficient policing of the society to combat crime has again been brought to the front burner. The General Manager, Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Abeokuta, Shade Astrop, highlighted this during a courtesy call on the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Zone F Headquarters, Abeokuta, Ogun State. Correspondent Hakim Jimo, who was there, has the details.
Leader of NTA Abeokuta Management, the General Manager, Mrs. Shade Astrop, commended the efforts of the Corps in protecting lives and property of the people, especially public infrastructure. On NTA's mandate to sensitize the public on the activities of the federal government and its agencies, Mrs. Astrop promised continued partnership with NSCDC Zone F Command.
The ideals of the federal government to make sure that people understand what the government is doing, and also in response take the views of the people to the government.
While thanking the command for their support and cooperation with NTA, the general manager disclosed that the station will not deviate from the professionalism for which it is known. She added that NTA would continue to promote unity, peace and integration in the country. In his response, the NSCDC Zone F Commandant, Mr. Jacob Amujare, enjoined NTA to continue to hold esteem the age-long excellence, innovation, and professionalism, adding that NTA is an international brand, promising renewed cooperation with NTA Abeokuta in the area of security. The Commandant disclosed that the security agency will not relent in evolving new techniques in crime control and disaster management. In Abeokuta, Hakim Jimo, NTA News.
And Hakim's report concludes our package from Lagos. It's now back to you, Femi, for more on nationwide news.
Thank you, Jennifer. The Nigerian education sector is receiving a boost as stakeholders pledge more support towards achieving quality education. At a conference on education, youths, and national development in Abuja, the education experts urged government to review their curriculum to accommodate peace education. Oyinaya Kaloka reports. She's still putting the report together, and we continue with education stories. The National University Commissioner (NUC) says 3 out of the 4 non-accredited programs of the University of Abuja have been accredited. Chairman Medical Accreditation Task Force team, Professor Eugene Okwere, stated this in Abuja while on an inspection tour of facilities at the university. Correspondent Olayinka Ojo reports that the engineering program of the school, which was not accredited, has now gotten the approval of NUC.
For some time now, the problem of non-accreditation of 4 programs of University of Abuja, namely medicine, veterinary medicine, agriculture and engineering, which made students embark on several peaceful protests, have been a source of worry to Nigerians, owing to the suspension of the programs in April last year. To ensure speedy accreditation of the programs, the University of Abuja management, after so many visitations, verifications, and inspection of facilities by the professional bodies, decided to put in place most of the defects of the program, ranging from equipment, structure, facility, and staffing. According to the Medical Task Force Chairman, Professor Eugene Okwere, for any program to be accredited, it must meet at least 70% in 4 key areas. These areas, medical and agricultural programs, met. For veterinary medicine, the only low is the equipping of its library, which is why the NUC gave Veterinary Medicine University of Abuja an interim accreditation.
If you do not satisfy the minimum requirements, we will not give you accreditation. But more importantly, also convinced from the beginning as to the capacity of the university.
With these medical facilities on ground, the medical students of the Medical College of University of Abuja would now take their first professional exams few weeks from now.
Responding to questions from journalists on the issue of engineering program, University of Abuja, Vice Chancellor, University of Abuja, Professor Sunday Adelabu says,
we now have engineering program approved by the NUC, and we can now take on students and then put everything in place, which in future they will now come normally for the accreditation.
On the preparedness of the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital to receive the medical students, Chief Medical Director Dr. Peter Alabi says over 120 consultants are ready to receive and train the medical students. In Abuja, Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Fascinating Nigerian campaign, the new brand image for Nigeria, will properly position Nigeria as a global destination. Minister of Tourism, Culture and National Orientation, Adam Duke, stated this at a meeting with state commissioners and directors of tourism. Elizabeth Banu reports.
Promoting Nigeria's rich potentials to the world through marketing the diverse culture and tourism opportunities saw the birth of the recently unveiled brand image called Fascinating Nigeria. This, the Minister of Tourism, Culture and National Orientation, Adam Duke, says now places the industry as a viable alternative to crude oil. And in repositioning the sector on the path of sustainable growth and development, the minister says the interactive meeting with state commissioners and directors of tourism will chart the way forward for greater cooperation between the federal and state governments.
We are to provide leadership, we are to provide policy direction, we are to do the necessary hand-holding, all right, and set the agenda for the sector. And that is the continuation of what we are doing here today.
Participants agree that creating a harmonious working relationship and harnessing the full benefits of tourism in their states will no doubt place Nigeria where it belongs, on the world tourism map.
Tourism can only thrive where there is good governance, where there are good roads, where there is electricity, good water, and a good environment. If you don't create those things as a basic framework, there's nothing you put in tourism that will make it work.
In many countries, it is normally the tourism brand that is giving the country the identity.
The Ministry of Tourism has recognized 235 possible tourism sites in Nigeria. In Abuja, I am Elizabeth Banu, NTA News.
The Bauchi State government says it is keen into the federal government transformation in the aviation sector. Governor Isa Yuguda, represented by the Special Advisor on Intergovernmental Affairs, Farouk Mustafa, said this at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. He was at the airport to receive an aircraft purchased by the state government in 2006 but had been taken overseas for comprehensive overhaul for more than 12 months. The aircraft, a 56-seater plane, is intended for commercial operations. And it's now time to link with our Port Harcourt Network Center for reports on tactical air command shooting, the importance of textbooks and allowance for the aged in Bayelsa State. All the details from Dauju. Over to you.
Port Harcourt. The Tactical Command 2013 Small Arms Shooting Range Classification Competition of the Nigerian Air Force has opened at Igrita, River State. The competition is expected to train participants on the use of arms and also select best hands for the Force Inter-Command Shooting Range. Correspondent Kingsley Amajuri reports.
About 55 officers and men of the command are participating, with 5 personnel drawn from each unit. The competition prepares the officers and men ahead of the bigger event, which will have the 4 major commands in the country engage one another in the shooting range. Why is it called Small Arms Shooting Range Classification Competition? The Senior Air Staff Officer, Tactical Command, Makurdi, Air Vice Marshal Monday Morgan, says it is because only small arms are deployed in the event.
Yes, they are small arms because the caliber of weapons that we use here, they are basically for ground usage.
By the procedure of the shooting range, participants receive magazines and bullet fill their ammunition. It is followed by parade warning to test run the guns.
The Tactical Air Command is headquartered at Makurdi, and it has 11 units participating in this competition. From the Igrita shooting range here in Port Harcourt, I'm Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Governor Seriake Dixon has assented to 4 bills brought to him by the Bayelsa State House of Assembly. Government House correspondent Mie Ogede reports that the Bayelsa State Health Service Bill did not receive the governor's assent. The reports.
The bills are the Bayelsa State Sport Academy, Environmental Sanitation Authority Amendment Bill, the Welfare and Social Security Scheme Bill, and the Bayelsa State Emergency Management Agency Amendment Bill. Speaker of the Bayelsa State House of Assembly, Mr. Friday Kambawe Benson, said the House deliberated on the bills for 2 months before their passage.
As a people who are also holding one arm of government, we are also very happy.
While thanking the House for its usual cooperation with the executive arm of the government, the governor said the Bayelsa State Emergency Management Amendment Law became necessary in view of the predicted 2013 flood.
Has now established a framework for combating emergencies in this state. And in the course of this week and early next week, we'll get a confident date to inaugurate the members of the board of that agency.
All the bills that were signed by the governor were forwarded by the executive arm of the state government. In Government House in Egua, Mie Ogede, NTA News.
Educationists have described students without textbooks as farmers without working implements. In this report, correspondent Ogede Nyekuri examines the importance of textbooks in the educational advancement of students.
Textbooks are books that teach different subjects. They are used in schools to aid teaching and learning. These books describe how exactly a problem or issue could be solved or handled in a subject area.
Books are live wires in the life of a school first, and then in the life of the students. For you to bring up somebody, you must invest something into the child. And so one of the investments you make is buying the child books, relevant books.
Teachers cannot give the student all that he requires. He needs to go back on his own, to sit back, to reflect on what the teacher has taught him or her with her own books.
It has been said that no excuse is good enough to deprive any parent or guardian from providing textbooks for their children, as education is the best legacy any parent can bequeath to any child. In Port Harcourt, Ogede Nyekuri, NTA News.
The Association International of Etudiants Socio-Economic Commercials, ISEC, has organized an awareness campaign against cervical cancer in Itu community, Emoha local government area of River State. Correspondent Diankume Ululu has the details.
The Enlightenment campaign of ISEC focuses on breast and cervical cancer, which is caused by infection with a virus called human HPV. The association's basic aim is to attain peace and fulfillment of humankind potentials through youth development. The resource persons say the best way to prevent cervical cancer is through screening for pre-cancer, which can be treated before it becomes cancer.
In Africa, a lot of people die of cancers, and the major cause is because of ignorance. People are unaware about this issue.
Some of the indigenes of Itu community commended the association for their efforts, noting that they are going back home well informed.
They are the best women. The way the cancer will not enter our body.
ISEC started in 1948 by a group of Scandinavian students aimed at imparting health issues in rural communities and the society at large. From Itu community in Emowa local government area of River State, Ganekume Ulolo, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Port Harcourt. It's back to Femi in Abuja for continuation of Nationwide. Good evening.
Thank you, Dauju. We now have the report on the contract variation, where we said in the spirit of checking wastages, President Goodluck Jonathan has directed ministers to stop bringing to council any augmentation of contracts that is beyond 15% of the original contract sum. Information Minister Labaran Maku said after the Federal Executive Council meeting this Wednesday, including an approval of engineering infrastructure for Phase 2 of the Gudzape district of the Federal Capital Territory. Let's now join State House correspondent Emma Okondo for details.
As Information Minister Labaran Maku explained, President Jonathan is worried about cases where requests for contract variations go as much as 100% of the original contract sum.
Mr. President believes that if MDAs do their jobs thoroughly, through proper